Hey everyone, welcome back. So this has been a long-awaited video for me to update the best products with lip stains. So thank you for being patient. In today's video, I have 4 glossy products and 4 matte products that I can't wait to share with you. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're interested in what I have on my lips right now, I do have it in the description box down below. So before I do start, I'm not going to be swatching these, but I do want to talk about them briefly. These 2 products are the classic and the best products out there for a lip stain. The first product is Peripera's Ink Velvet. Very classic and popular formula as well as shades. They have more than 40 shades, so a lot to choose from. Very creamy, very pigmented, really good stain up to 6 to 8 hours. It does have a sweet-like scent, but it is quite subtle. This is Etude's Fixing Tint. This is a formula that came out during COVID. With that said, it's mask-proof. It has a water-like formula and it dries matte. Very pigmented, very long-lasting, up to 6 to 8 hours as well. Lots of good shades from this collection as well. This has a crayon-like scent. This one is Roman's Blur Fudge Tint, and similar to Etude's, it came out during COVID. This has a blurring function, so it's going to blur the wrinkles of your lips to give a very beautiful marshmallow pout. Very pigmented, really good blurring effect. You do have to wait 10 minutes for it to dry for it to be mask proof. Even if you don't wait 10 minutes, the stain is very pigmented. This can also last 6 to 8 hours depending on eating and drinking. This has a shea butter-like scent. So you can see for the stain is very pigmented. Moving on to the products today that I'm swatching. We're starting off with Roman's Sheer Tinted Stick. And I'm going to be putting the shades on the screen somewhere in case you're interested. This is sort of a lip balm type of packaging. As you know, for lip balms, they don't really have much of a stain. So out of all the products today, this does have the least lip stain. However, for a lip balm type of formula, I think this has the best stain. It's very moisturizing. It melts really easily onto the lips. One thing that is really impressive about this product is the gradation. It does apply sheer, but once you add more layers, it adds such a very nice grading effect. The more layers you apply, it does get more pigmented. Really easy to control the color. So this has got to be one of the best products for layering and building up the color. It's not super glossy, but it does have more of a balmy gloss to it. Very moisturizing, however, very good pigmentation. For the lighter shades, they don't have much of a stain, but I do find that the longer you wear these, the better the stain. It's not going to last a few hours, but it is going to have a tinted stain, which is pretty impressive for our lip balms. This also doesn't have much of a scent. Next up, we have Roman's Bare Water Tint. Comes in this very compact packaging. And as the name says, it has a watery-like formula, and then it sort of dries more matte on your lips, but it does have a semi see-through gloss-like effect, which I find actually looks pretty good in photos, and because of that, it's also very moisturizing. I recently went on a trip and I used Bare Vanilla, which is their lightest shade, sort of this peachy beige color. It's quite light, but it actually looked really good in photos. It does kind of look more like a lip stain, so after eating a meal, there is still a little bit of a stain left. Quite impressive even for a lighter shade, and for darker shades like this one that I'm swatching has a really pigmented stain as well. I want to say this can last 5 to 6 hours or even more depending on eating and drinking. You can use this as a base color, but also just by itself and add gloss on top. It does slightly oxidize. Once it dries on your lips, it's going to have a semi-gel gloss finish to it, so it's very moisturizing. It does have a slight sweet scent. Next up is Cleo's Crystal Glam Tint. This has a gel/oil-like formula to it, so it is going to feel a little bit semi-thick on the lips. However, it's quite moisturizing. Once you let it oxidize, it has a very beautiful see-through glass-like gloss finish, and it is quite glossy. It does have more of a glaze-like gloss finish, similar to candy or like a juicy fruit. For this kind of glaze-like gloss finish, it actually is quite moisturizing. It doesn't dry up the lips. This formula is a little bit similar to Roman's Beautiful Water Tint or Peripera's Etude Glowy Tint. It's slightly a little bit more thick and slightly a little bit more glossy too. I'd say this has a pretty good stain, up to 5 to 6 hours. For this stain, however, it does turn red, but it is quite pigmented. And for this scent, it has a floral-like sweet scent. Next up, we have Peripera's Waterbird Tint. This is the glossy finish that has the best stain, so I saved it for last. For the formula, you have this semi-watery, semi-oil-like formula. Little does go a long way, so it's very pigmented. This product also does oxidize quite a bit. Lots of shades from this collection as well. So you do have a variety of shades. You do have a lighter shade like a Nonce Beige, which is also a peach beige color. That shade is also really pigmented for a stain as well. You'll also see from the hand swatch later, but this has the most pigmented stain for all the glossy finishes, maybe even for the matte finishes as well. The only downside is that the stain does turn rosy, especially when it comes in contact with water, so it can be a little bit difficult to kind of retain the shade. However, it does have a really good stain. It is quite long lasting as well. For the scent, it does smell a little bit sweet. Moving on to the matte finishes, we have Bia's Lash Velvet Tint. This product, I don't think I gave enough credit, so I'm adding into this video. This product has been on the market for a few years now. It's definitely an OG lip product, if that even makes sense, with Peripera's Ink the Velvet Tint. This is a very popular formula in Korea and also abroad, especially in Southeast Asian countries. It's semi-creamy, semi-velvety. It's a lot lighter than Peripera's Ink the Velvet, but it has a very similar creamy formula, really easy to blend, really easy to blur, lots of pigmentation. This stain can last 6 to 8 hours. Very pigmented stain, super moisturizing as well. It doesn't dry the lips. Similar to Peripera, they have a variety of shades from this collection, especially if you're looking for brown or mute, maybe less vibrant shades. This sort of has like a semi-crayon, semi-buttery like scent. It actually smells pretty good. It's not overwhelming, a little bit subtle however, so you do have to get close to smell it. Next up we have Lily by Red's Sweet Liar Milky Tint. This is a recent product that I picked up, but you probably know it's been quite popular and I just kind of got to it. So a lot of these water blur like formulas like Clio's, Bia's, and Wake Makes, including Lily by Red, they sort of have this water blur formula where it's watery and then it dries matte on the lips, and it's going to cover the wrinkles of your lips to give a very beautiful fluffy pout. Last year in my best stain video, I did include Clio's. I think that Lily by Red's probably has the best moisturization for this type of formula. Once it dries matte on your lips, it's going to have a semi-velvety, like an airy velvety like texture on the lips. Really good pigmentation as well, really easy to blend, really easy to blur. For this, it also does have a slight rosy stain once it touches water. Overall, it is going to have a pretty good pigmented stain up to 4 to 6 hours, but the only downside I would say is the sweet scent. It does have a strong scent, so I would keep that in mind. Next up is Peripera's Over Blur Tint. This has a very similar formula to Roman's Blur Fudge Tint in that it covers the wrinkles of your lips to give a blurred-like finish. It also is semi-thick, maybe slightly lighter to Roman's. It has this velvet-like formula, which is really similar to Roman's. And with that said, it also has a really good stain, really good pigmentation, really easy to blend, really easy to blur. It's not going to be mask proof like Roman's, but it does have a really good pigmented stain. This could last 6 to 8 hours. I think for lighter shades they can last 4 to 6 hours, but regardless, that's a pretty good stain. I actually have it on my lips right now too. Adds a lot of moisturization. It's not drying. Last but not least, we have Peripera's Ink the Jellable Tint. This is a recent product that actually came out, and I believe they only have 5 shades. This one is a little bit similar to Lily by Red's in that it has a semi-watery like formula and then it dries matte on the lip. This is semi-watery, semi-gel. This doesn't really fill in the wrinkles of your lips compared to Lily by Red's or similar water blur tints. But for matte finishes, I find this has the best stain, especially for darker shades in this collection or bright shades like reds. The shades for this collection are a little bit more bright and bold. There are 2 shades that are lighter. Those can last 3 to 4 hours, so they don't really have long-lasting stain. But for some reason, for the brighter shades, especially if they have red or brown in it, I would say at least up to 8 or 10 hours, even if you're eating and drinking. So they do have a really pigmented stain. Especially the red shades, they can last up to the next day just because of how bright and vibrant they are. Very moisturizing. It is semi-thick. Really good formula. I do hope that they come with more shades. Really easy to blend, really easy to blur, really good pigmentation. And this also has a floral-like scent. So those are the current best lip stains that I wanted to share with you, glossy and matte versions. I hope that you found it helpful. That's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next video.